Today we're going to finish our penmanship assignment on butterflies. So the other day you should have selected a title for your butterfly report. And we'll work more on these a little bit later. Today we're going to add some sentences to our butterfly report. So you remember this is the screen we had whenever I was teaching you a little bit about the butterflies. Just want to go over a couple facts with you and talk about a few things. Remember, butterflies fly in a zigzag pattern to avoid predators. There are over 15,000 kinds of butterflies, so you can find all kinds of colors and shapes, and even moths are butterflies. It's a type of a moth or a butterfly, come from different kind of caterpillars. So some giant butterflies can be a foot wide. Remember we talked about a foot, about the size of a man's foot. Well, some butterflies can be that big. You can see in this picture he's holding a really big butterfly. This one takes up the whole hand, and they can be really, really big. A couple other things. We talked about the butterfly life cycle. And remember that butterflies start, and Mrs. Zimmerman wants you to read, if you haven't already, and hopefully we'll be able to read it today, The Very Hungry Caterpillar. I think many of you have read that before. But the butterfly life cycle, it starts as a little egg, like this, and then it comes out of the egg as a little caterpillar, and then it eats and grows, kind of like you, eat and grow and grow. And then it goes into a chrysalis. Here they use the word pupa, but those two words can be used together. It goes into a chrysalis, which makes a very hard shell. I hope some of you read about this on Epic. Good stuff on Epic. And then it hangs off of a limb like this. And then after a few weeks, it pushes out and it becomes a beautiful butterfly. So that's how a caterpillar grows into a butterfly. And you remember here, I showed you that you can go to Epic, and if you haven't done it yet, you're going to want to do it soon. My class code is already saved in here, but it says QAC 1409. And Mom and Dad, if you didn't get the email, then I'll get that to you so that you can get into Epic. And you enter that, and you can go in, and you can read books. You just enter your class, and if you go in, you choose your name, and you can go, I'll pretend to be Bo. And when you go in, if you click on the mailbox right here, it'll show all the books that Mrs. Zimmerman has selected for you. I have some fun stories in there, but there's also one called Butterflies. And if you look at the one Butterflies, there's one that can be read to you, and then there's one where you can just look at the pictures or read it yourself. So, we talked about the butterfly life cycle. I want you to write some sentences about a butterfly today. You're going to go back and get the paper out of your binder that has all the lines on it. Hey, can you shut the door for me? That has all the lines on it, and then you're going to try to make some sentences about a butterfly, and I'll show you some examples here in just a minute. Let's talk about some of the buzzwords that we might use if we're going to talk about a butterfly. Let me read you a little blurb here. It says, God made the beautiful butterflies we see all around us. Did you ever wonder where butterflies come from? A butterfly begins as a tiny egg, which is what we saw. Let's back it up here. A butterfly begins as a tiny egg. Then it hatches into a caterpillar. It eats and grows for about 2 weeks, then rests for a long time in a hard shell called a chrysalis. When it cracks open, out comes a beautiful butterfly. When you see a funny caterpillar, remember it may become a beautiful butterfly one day. And I saw some of your titles. I saw The Butterfly, Butterflies. I didn't see too many titles, so Mom and Dad, you can send me those titles. I love to see what you wrote as a title. Now, here's some buzzwords that we can use, okay? Butterflies begin life as tiny eggs, and I have an example of that right there, tiny eggs. These caterpillars are laid on green leaves. Caterpillars hatch from the eggs. A caterpillar will eat and grow. You can see those words there, eats and grows. Caterpillars eat leaves. A caterpillar's skin hardens into a chrysalis. Remember, that's that hard shell. So here's some buzzwords we can use as we're writing our story. After many days, the chrysalis opens and a butterfly comes out. Butterflies have bright colors, and they're the same on both sides. So if you have a butterfly, each wing, it looks exactly the same, symmetrical. Remember the line of symmetry? It would be the same on both sides. A butterfly cannot fly until its wings are dry. So here's some of the buzzwords, butterfly. And I want to show you this right here. When we use the word fly, it's F-L-Y, it ends in a Y. So if you're going to use the word fly in a sentence, it would end with the Y. If you're going to use the word flies, it would end with the I-E-S. Change the Y to I. You know that one from phonics, right? So these are some buzzwords. We're going to come back to these words in just a minute, and you can pause it and use some of these to make your story. Remember, you don't have to know how to spell every word exactly right. You just got to use sentences that start with a capital letter, end with a period, and each sentence has to make sense. I know this is a tough one for you, so you're going to have to put work into it at home because I really want to see those stories. Let's look at an example of a story that Mrs. Zimmerman made. Now, you're not going to copy my story, but I'll read it to you. It says, butterflies start as tiny eggs. They eat and grow. They go into a chrysalis. They come out after many days. A butterfly has so many pretty colors. It can fly a long way. Remember, I told you that they could fly all the way from Canada to Mexico. They can fly a really long way. So what I want you to do is take a minute to pause your video. Now, I'm going to move the camera a little closer so that you can see it a little better if you need to use any of these words. If you cannot know how to spell a word, then you don't need to ask Mom and Dad for help. You simply can try it out on your own. Try to sound it out. You know, Mrs. Zimmerman helps you with the spellings of your words. So what you're going to do is you're going to take time to pause this video and write 3 or 4 sentences of your own. Maybe you can write about what they do, how they go on tiny eggs, and how they grow into a caterpillar and go into a chrysalis. All these words are here. This looks a lot like our cursive writing, so hopefully you can see them. I'll see if I can get a little closer. And you can pause the video to see the words to help you write a story. Can't wait to hear those stories.